Hello everyone! Time to update the refinery priority tier list, or no, Sacred Seal priority tier list. I'm getting confused by the other video I just made. Yay! For those who are really confused, because I've made the video for every seal on there outside of the upcoming one 2 months ago, because we haven't gotten a single Sacred Seal since then. I'm going to leave in the description the first video I've made on this topic. Now, this is covering only 3 seals, and I'm also going to point something about 3 other seals from the other video. Also, I do want to point out before I start, yes, the other video I made was the first one, so I had to review every single seal separately. The video is 2 hours. You don't have to watch the 2 hours. Mike was generous enough to actually put a timestamp for every seal in question. So, if you just want my thoughts on 1 or 2 seals, just find this comment, I believe I pinned it, and search for the seal in question. Now, let's move on to this video. Again, before I start though, those are the 3 seals that have changed. By changed I mean those seals were only obtainable through doing the Tempest trial back then, which was not the Tempest trial of back then, but the Tempest trial of a month ago, before the video I made. So, alright, those are the 3 seals. They are now, you can now make them in the Forge, and I figured I update that, showing up the creation cost. Now, moving on to the actual meat of the video. Let's start with Threaten Death. Now, Threaten Death has a bit of a problem, and it's that usually you run Threaten Death on a Brave weapon, and when you run this on a Brave weapon, you tend to run Attack plus 3 as a seal as well. So, yeah, you can't really run Threaten Death twice, meaning running something else is kind of pointless. Running double Threaten skills kind of feels weird as well. I guess if you have a weird quad setup, this could work. But outside of that, I don't know. I would say it's a good idea. Unless you're like Celica, which comes with attack tactics, so you might want to run Threaten Death as a C slot. This is why it's only a A-tier seal. It's not a bad seal by any stretch, but it's not great either. It's just kind of average. It has its utility, it's just that usually you run that skill as a C slot rather than the seal slot, and the seal slot is far more versatile than the C slot. So, This is why it's a bit underwhelming. And yeah, it's on the same level as Threat and Attack. Death is definitely relevant even to this day's meta. It's just, first off, it's a 200 SP seal, so you might actually lose a SP bin as a result. If you don't understand what I mean by SP bin, go watch my tutorial when it comes down to arena score. I guess I should also post that in the description, huh? But yeah, since it's less SP, it's kind of hard to run unless you're running it on an arena assault unit. But even then, I would just not upgrade it. Use the base version instead, and just be alright with that. Because I mean, you're not going to use it on a main unit, so you might as well just abuse it on a unit you're not going to use a whole lot. That's just my opinion. Anyway, moving on to Blaze Dance, and as you can see, it's at the same level as Earth Dance, which can we not get dance seals? Can we actually get seals that mattered? Like, I don't know. Guard! Why is Guard not a seal yet? Why is Guard not a seal? I don't get this. This is so stupid. Well, oh well. Instead we have dance skills. So, let's put it this way. You have Quan that has been just released with a double rally plus, which again, this is a problem. I'm going to address it on the video when it comes down to the new heroes instead of here. But Quan has a double rally plus that buffs 6 attack and 6 death. Meanwhile, and by the way, that takes the assist slot rather than the B slot, which is one of the best slot when it comes down to dancers in general because of Wings of Mercy. And what you're telling me is the guy at IS were like, so you know what, this unit can buff by 6 and 2 stats. What should we do about Blaze Dance? Let's make it buff 1 stat by 4. And release it on the Tempest trial related to a unit that gets released buffing 2 stats by 6. What? Like, I feel like if you're going to just go out with the single buff dance, it should just buff by 7, bare minimum, at max. Otherwise, it's like, who cares? Who cares? It doesn't do enough. But what I feel like it should do is kind of like, if anyone is aware of how Path of Radiance works, there is a singer in this game. And when the singer becomes an animal, when he becomes in beast form of when he goes in his Lagoose form, fuck, this is difficult to say. He can dance multiple people at once. This is how dance should work. What I mean by this is when you dance one unit, every unit around you, or maybe around the target you're dancing, should get the buff. And not just the unit you're dancing, because that's fucking pointless. An extra 4 attack for a B slot is fucking useless. Especially when you have own attack and attack tactic in the pool at 4-star. What's the purpose here? Attack tactic is literally the most available tactics skill in the entire game. Why are you going to bother giving us Blaze Dance? Like, who cares? If any of the dance right now is even somewhat relevant, it would be Gel Dance, and even then it's not fantastic because own speed is a seal and a C slot that's pretty easy to obtain. And that buffs multiple people instead of a single person. So, what the fuck? It's such a pointless skill. I was actually debating like downgrading the dance skills into C slot. But I guess if you're already using like their respective skill as seals on another unit, you can actually somewhat use them. It's very bootleg, but it works. Like, it's just nothing really amazing. And that's just kind of a shame, really. Both Threaten Death and Blaze Dance are kind of as a result. But yeah, let's move on to Drive Speed, which is the 40k seal, most likely, because it's the only one that actually does something relevant. Now, Drive Speed is fantastic. Drive Speed does not get Panic Ployed, which is usually good because unit which has a good amount of speed don't tend to have a whole lot of attack either. Not attack, HP, sorry. So getting Panic Ploy is really easy. Another reason is because speed checks are usually a thing that happens, especially if you're running Legendary Actor or Myrrh, because they have a weapon that just so happens to block follow-up attacks. However, since Bolt Fighter is so common, which basically allows a double, if you get outsped, well, you're still getting doubled regardless of your weapon, making your weapon almost useless. So Drive Speed can be useful in that regard, to some extent. I do want to say it's pretty shaky on that regard, but other than this, if you're talking about like normal map, in a lot of map, speed is actually more relevant than in Arena, so Drive Speed actually has a lot of purpose. It's also an extra tool for characters like Brave Lucina. Brave Lucina can now buff by 9 speed physical damage units, which is kind of insane in a way. Marth also can abuse it, obviously, they're both buffers. So it's definitely nice to see in there, and also it's really fantastic for Legendary Hero Battle nowadays, since, you know, those are fucking cancerous for a lot of people, because they just end up being like, ooh, look, Abyssal mode, the best mode ever. When you beat it, you get a golden turd. Fucking hell. So yeah, it's not great. It's definitely not great. And also it's a 240 SP skill, which is the best amount of SP for any seal slot skill, so definitely worth keeping in mind. Definitely, like I said, useful more in PvP than PvE, sorry, than PvP. Since speed is more relevant there than in PvP, since PvP tends to have like, I believe like 2 or 3 units that are actually really quick that you might find in the high tier arena, and like everything else is 30 speed or below, which is like, well, alright, who cares at that point? If you have a unit with 35 speed, you're in double city, so still, like I said, really good for PvE. This is why drive speed is less desirable than drive attack, but that doesn't mean, like I said, that drive attack is useless. That is just flat out wrong. So yeah, good to keep in mind. So I think that's about it. This is one of the shortest video I've ever made, but really there's not much to say when it comes down to seal. You're just talking about a skill in a specific slot, probably. Reviewing skills is kind of a weird thing to do, so But yeah, this is my updated tier list, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So, have a fun one, everybody, and I'll see you later when I can actually do the analysis for the banner. Have a fun one.